I spent a collective 4 hours or so working on this proof. I made an entire video about how I could not solve it, and I think I finally cracked it. So here's the proof. You have two neighbor fractions, a over b and c over d. And what a neighbor fraction is, let me give you an example. 1/2 and 1/3, those are neighbor fractions. And the mathematical rule for this is when you subtract one from the other, you get a fraction with the product of the two denominators as its denominator, and either +1 or -1 in the numerator. So for 1/2 and 1/3, when you subtract 1/3 from 1/2, you get 1/6. 1 in the numerator and 2 times 3 in the denominator, 6. And if you subtract 1/2 from 1/3, you get -1/6. So it goes both ways. So let's say you have a third fraction. That fraction is a plus c over b plus d. So the numerators over, those are added together, the numerators added together over the denominators added together. Prove that this third fraction, a plus b over c, or sorry, a plus c over b plus d, is in between the two neighboring fractions. Just look at all this. Look at all this shit. This is not even half of it. It turns out I had to prove several other things before I arrived at this proof. For one thing, I had to prove that a plus c over b plus d is actually also neighbors with a over b and c over d. It's also a neighbor. And then after I proved that, I had to prove that fraction neighbors cannot have opposing signs to each other. Like you can't have one of the neighbors be a positive number and the other be a negative number. This right here is the actual mathematical rule for fraction neighbors. And I had to take this equation and remove the denominators from it to make AD minus BC equals plus minus 1. And I had to plug that in to the equation when I was figuring out whether a plus c over b plus d is neighbors with both of the fractions. And I had to run all of these simplifications, and oh my god, it was grueling. You might be wondering why. Why am I doing this? This is an algebra problem from an algebra textbook. And I guess my goal as a mathematician is to understand math from the ground up. Because when I was learning math in school, it was all about shortcuts. The teachers were always teaching me shortcuts to problems. For instance, the FOIL method, when you're multiplying two polynomials together and they're both in parentheses, you do first, outer, inner, last. And you don't really need to know what that means, but it's a shortcut. I learned all these shortcuts and they worked, but I didn't know why they worked. So if I ever stumbled upon a problem that didn't have a shortcut, that I didn't learn the shortcut for yet, I didn't know how to solve it. And that really bugs me. I don't know math. I did so well in math in high school, so well. But it's kind of been a lie. I don't know math. I know shortcuts. I don't know how any of it works. And one of my missions in life is to learn engineering. I want to learn a lot of different kinds of engineering: mechanical engineering, computer engineering, electrical engineering, aerospace engineering. Not for any instrumental reason, more of a general, it's fucking cool reason. And when you're solving real world engineering problems, it gets messy. It's not clean and predictable like the problems on a math test that are hand-picked for you to use specific strategies. You have to figure it out for yourself. And I could use online tools like Wolfram Alpha or generative AI to help me solve mathematical problems as I learn engineering, but I don't like that. That just doesn't feel the same. I don't feel like I'm learning, like I'm really, truly figuring it out for myself. That's the goal here, is I want to figure out how the world works on my own without help from these new technologies. That's one of the greatest joys in life as a whole, is figuring out how the world works, understanding things. So I'm going to learn this entire algebra textbook, and then I'm going to learn probably a trigonometry textbook, and then maybe a geometry textbook, and then I'm going to move to calculus, and then I'm going to move to linear algebra, and then maybe I will move on to engineering, and I will have a foundation. It's kind of like building a pyramid. You build the biggest foundation at the bottom, and then once you're done building the first half, the second half is so much easier. It takes so much less time, and it's so rewarding. Mathematics is so rewarding when you actually spend hours and hours on a problem, and then you finally solve it. There's some magical feeling to that, and there's no technology that helped you. That was you. That was your own mind. Like, if we got people who did drugs to get really good at math, they probably wouldn't need the drugs anymore, because that feeling of solving a math problem is undefeatable. And once you understand math, you understand reality. You understand everything that's going on around you. And now I've got this new proof that I'm working on that's already taken me about 2 hours, and I've not been able to get through it. It's actually part of the same problem. It's just a 3-part problem about fucking neighbor fractions. And this new one is the last part. It's part C, and you can forget A plus C over B plus D. There's a new fraction, E over F, and F can be no greater than, I think it's B plus D. Yeah, it's B plus D. F can be no greater than that. So that's the denominator of this new fraction. And I now have to prove that E over F cannot fit between A over B and C over D as a whole fraction, not a fraction with a decimal in either side. I don't even think that counts as a fraction. This is everything I've tried so far with this problem. I've already filled 4 pages, 4.5 with this, and I've gotten nowhere. I've experimented with examples of what E over F could be, and I have found that, let's say you have 1/6 and 1/7. These are neighbors. If you subtract 1/6 from 1/7, you get negative 1 over 42. Subtract 1/7 from 1/6, you get 1 over 42. So they are neighbors. And if you try to fit a fraction in between them that has a denominator that's less than A plus B, so A or B plus D, and in this instance B plus D would be 13. If you try it with 11, which is less than B plus D, no matter, or you try it with 10, or what did I try it with? I tried it with 12. None of them can fit. No fraction can fit in between 1/6 and 1/7, because 1/6 is about equivalent to 1.66 over 10. 1/7 is equivalent to about 1.42 over 10. So no fraction fits in between for this specific denominator. And I tried it for 11, 1.83, and 5. What the fuck, bro? What the fuck? I don't give a shit. And so, yeah, when you try it with 11ths, 1/6 is about 1.83 11ths according to my calculations, and 1/7 is about 1.57 11ths. So no fraction fits in between those. So it's kind of like, no matter which of these denominators you try that's less than 13, when you try to fit 1/6 and 1/7 into those denominators, there's no whole number between them. But I can't prove that that's going to be the case for all every single number fraction or fraction neighbor and every single denominator that is less than b plus d. I don't know how to prove it. I don't know how to fucking prove it. It's racking my brain. I am confused. I'm very confused, and so I will update you in the future for how we're going to figure that out, if I ever do, which I should. Because there's something amazing about the human brain that I've learned about recently, which is the concept of diffuse mode. Have you ever had something on the tip of your tongue that you just cannot think of in the moment, and then 5 hours pass and then it pops into your head? That's diffuse mode. When you're thinking about a problem, when you're working on a problem and you stop, your brain doesn't stop. I don't know how the fuck it happens. I don't know what's happening. It's not like I'm thinking about it, but for some reason, like, my brain is moving information around. I visualize it as happening in like the back of the brain, like as if it's the back of a grocery store or a warehouse or something. But your brain doesn't stop working on the problem. It's incredible. And after you ever been working on a problem at night, it's a really hard problem, and then you go to sleep and you wake up in the morning and it's just solved. Everything's just solved. That's diffuse mode. It's nuts. Anyway, this has been Castles in the Air, and my name has been Luke. This channel is called Castles in the Air because I have so many lofty goals. It's like trying to build a castle in the sky.